Well, this wasn't the video I was going to release this week, but, here we are anyway. So, I've never done a video like this, but I felt with the amount of Warrior Cats news we've gotten this week, it felt prudent. Because, oh my, there's a lot of so much to talk about. But hi, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Warrior Cats news. I'm recording this on a Thursday, so I pray, nothing gets announced on a Friday. Because that would be very unfortunate and funny. But, let's just get right into it. So, things that were announced. So, one of the first major things, well, not the first major thing, but I think is the most important, is we finally have both the cover and the title for Arc 9, Changing Skies' second book. It's going to be called Hidden Moon, which everyone kind of figured out based on the teaser they released last week. I mean, what else could it be? And here, this is the cover, which looks honestly really good. So the cat on the front is Starling Paw, who is one of our new protagonists. It appears that he's going to be replacing Leaf Star, which is a choice I'll get into later. But looking at the cover, this is by far one of our most, interesting cat designs we've got in a while. He looks really cool. Genuinely, the color scheming, the kind of softer red that we have for, the title and the arc title, it's really cool. I really like this. It's really striking. And of course, the background cats is Nectar Song, which is apparently Starling Paw's mentor, and then Crowfeather, because why not? But, looking at the synopsis, we kind of give a general idea, nothing too crazy. Tawny Pelt, she's still going to be, the central character, I believe, for this arc. I'm hopeful that she's still going to be the standout character as well. So it's very exciting. Starling Paw, it's interesting, because as far as a story that we see, what they're going to try to take the direction of him, it could be very interesting. The issue is that he's replacing Leaf Star, which I have a few issues with. Number one, it does unfortunately change this from not being an all-female arc. It means we have a guy again. Granted, he is interesting to the story as far as, how he connects to it, and he also connects to Leaf Star, but it is definitely an interesting choice. But, it could be interesting, but it's a little disappointing. And then Moonpaw, she's still doing her stuff. No, nothing crazy. But the last section, if you look at it, seems rather interesting. Because I feel didn't in Arc 7, wasn't that also a Star Clan, we can't speak to them kind of plot? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I've read a little bit of it. I read the first book. But I feel we just did this plot. It's still kind of fresh in my memory as far as people talking about it. But if they're trying to, do The Great Journey Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, this definitely is the way to do it. But overall, I think Book 2 looks to be very interesting, and I'm excited to read it when it comes out in November. Because if you watch my last video, the one about 2025, you'll note that originally, this book was supposed to come out in October. But then, about a couple weeks ago, it was delayed into November. Because that makes sense. Which means this is by far the longest gap between main series books in forever. I checked the list. We went from our shortest list between book 6 of Arc 8 to, The Elder's Quest is 2 months. I think that's the shortest we've ever had to wait between a main series. To 10 months between The Elder's Quest and now Hidden Moon. Which, it's interesting why they decided to do that. I know there's a lot of Warrior Cats books releasing this year, but they're really making us wait. Seriously. What's also interesting about this press release about Hidden Moon is that we got confirmation about who the new Aaron is. Because for those who don't know, Kate Carey, one of the original ghostwriters under the Aaron Hunter pseudonym, retired earlier this year. Well, I guess last year. She finished with Warrior Cats. So, who's going to be her replacement? It appears to be Clarissa Hutton. And luckily enough, she is not just a nobody. She has written with Warrior Cats before. Here is some of the books that she has written, according to the Warriors Wiki. Primarily she's written novellas, the latter novella collections. She's also written for the Ultimate Guide Updated and Expanded. Presumably, it's purely updating certain sections and then writing that new section for Firestar and Grey Stripe. Unless that was some Wiki, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But this is her kind of experience with Warrior Cats as far as writing. According to the Wiki, she's also worked as an editor for Kate specifically. So she knows Warrior Cats, which is really good, and she's familiar enough with writing Warrior Cats. Unfortunately, what she specifically has written, it's complicated. So, out of all the novellas that are listed here, and here's the thing, I own most of these novellas. The only one I've read is Thunderstar's Echo, a novella that I didn't really like, partly because I don't like Thunderstar, and also because I thought the novella was kind of pointless. So there's that. As for the other novellas, they range, as far as what I've heard about, some are considered divisive, others no one talks about. So, is that reflective of how she'll write Hidden Moon? No, but it is something to take into consideration and kind of show us how her writing style differs from other Erins. Because even though all Erins have a general style, to keep things consistent, some Erins tend to focus sometimes on one thing, and sometimes they tend to focus on other things, such as relationships and character dynamics and environmental storytelling. They do things slightly different, enough that you notice if you look for it, but not too much that it's omnipresent in the work. But still, I am very optimistic that she will do a good job. I don't think that she'll do a terrible job. I think she'll do a very good job, and if she sticks around and becomes the new mainstay in Erin, good for her. I'm excited to see what she brings to the main series. So then next, we got confirmation, which, talking to people, apparently we had kind of soft confirmation before, but from early previews of, I think it was volume 3 of the graphic novel adaptation, we got official confirmation under the third section you can see about, not only are we getting the new Prophecy graphic novel adaptation, but also the Power of 3. Arcs 2 and Arc 3 are getting a graphic novel adaptation treatment, which means they are very confident in this. Only one volume has released thus far, and I presume they have pre-orders for at least volume 2, so apparently it's done well enough for them to not only greenlight Arc 2 and Arc 3, but also accelerate it with a 6-month publication schedule. This wording is weird. Accelerated 6-month publication schedule. What does that mean? Seriously. We don't really know, and I've talked to other people what it possibly could mean. There are a few options. So, one possibility is that they're accelerating the release schedule, so they're going to release 2 volumes a year, because, it's 12 years and whatnot. Or they could also be speeding up the, production quality, which could lead to dips in quality. It definitely is slightly concerning, because the wording, it's both vague enough to not be direct about what its intentions are, but it's also the way it's kind of phrased. I don't know. It feels like we're missing some context, and until that context is given, then we can kind of figure out either to panic or to breathe a sigh of relief. But I do think that the confirmation of Arc 2 and Arc 3 is a good sign. These graphic novel adaptations have done very well, and hopefully will continue to do well. I really want them to do Dawn of the Clans as a graphic novel adaptation. I think that'd be awesome. Also, a side note, we also get confirmation of a box set. So the arcs have box sets of all the books. We're going to give that for the graphic novel adaptation. A little slightly disappointed on my end. I would kind of hope, it's volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, do a complete collection, one singular book. I don't know. Maybe we'll get that one day, but, I just think it's cool. And now, speaking of books, I guess, we got this thing. I don't know what it is. And quite frankly, none of us do. We don't know what this is. Now I know you're thinking, what do we know? Well, apparently, according to Barnes & Noble, I guess, we're getting a deluxe version of Into the Wild. Specifically, according to the Elder's brochure, it's a collector's deluxe limited edition. Now, what does that mean? No clue. What will it add? Who knows? Will it be any good or anything substantial? Probably not. We don't know what this is. It's releasing in November, apparently, which I believe is the same day as Hidden Moon. I'm gonna try to get it and figure out what's going on here, but yeah, I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you what this is. And I thought this was the last news, and it was gonna be kind of where we're gonna end on a bit of a strange one. But nope. Something else got announced. Warrior Cats is teamed up with some merchandise and toy companies to release things. That was not a sentence I thought I would say, but I have said it. So apparently, there's a press release where Kulabi Group, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and they're the ones who owns Warrior Cats, they have teamed up with Retail Monster and Bonkers Toys, which is an amazing name, to, create things. Although I want to say it's funny that they call Warrior Cats a best-selling publication and gaming franchise. Listen, gaming franchise implies that there are multiple games, and unless they're counting the Flash games, there's only one, which is the Ultimate Edition, and even then, Warrior Cats Ultimate Edition barely counts as a game to begin with. At best, it is a demo of what a Warrior Cats game could be if it was given to actual developers who don't have a tenuous relationship with the community. But yeah, that's stupid. They call it a gaming franchise. Best-selling publishing franchise. That's fair. Very fair. But Kulabi, they want to expand the brand further. So they want to, merchandise. They want to create merchandise and do toy lines. And what does that mean? We don't know. They say we're going to be getting more information in the months ahead. So that presumably means we are going to get information about this by the end of the year. I mean, it's only the end of February. Although, yeah, it's the end of February right now. I was thinking like, it's going to be March soon. But we are probably going to get information by the end of the year. Hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. But, I don't know. This is very interesting. Now, here's something I thought about. I wonder if they have appointed these companies to create merchandise and toys, does that mean the Warrior Cats website and their merchandise are going away? Or will that continue to exist independently and come out with things independently? I don't know. I presume it will continue to do things on its own. And this is just like another avenue. But specifically, what does this entail? So, first, Retail Monster licensing and merchandising program. So I presume that's stuff like shirts and posters and maybe figurines, stuff like that. Which, what does that specifically mean? Who knows? Who knows? This is Warrior Cats we're talking about. Aside from the Warrior Cats website, the only other official merchandise we have are some trading card games and I think it's China. I believe it's China. You can check the Warrior Cats wiki page. Aside from that, there's not really anything, so that could be interesting. And as for Bonkers Toys with the toy line, what does that specifically mean? Well, apparently, as I have been informed, Bonkers Toys make these kind of small box, little collectible toys you find Walmart. And among their variety of sponsors of brands they've created toys for, one of them has been Skibbity Toilet. So, take that as you will. But I do think this is interesting, because Warrior Cats is like, at this point, what, 20... What was this? It's the 22nd year? It's 22 years old. That's old. So, the fact that the Kulabi group is deciding to expand Warrior Cats' reach as far as, like, beyond just the website, as far as merchandise, and want to spread more awareness, I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously the graphic novel adaptation has expanded Warrior Cats' reach exponentially, not just because they're putting the production in for the later 2 arcs, but also just because it's more accessible. So I wonder if after all these years they finally realize if they want to kind of increase the brand and make Warrior Cats as recognizable as honestly it deserves to be, they're finally taking the necessary steps to do that, which is interesting. But I'm curious to see what kind of merchandise and toys, you can't see this, but I'm doing air quotes here, I'm curious to see what they come up with. You know, will they be good? Will they be bad? Will they be questionable? Honestly, probably all of the above. But, yeah, that's the news, the Warrior Cats news. Hopefully, nothing more gets announced, or I'm gonna have a heart attack. But, yeah, that's Warrior Cats news. A bunch of cool stuff announced, a bunch of strange stuff announced, and some concerning side notes. But, what did you think? Are you excited for the future of Warrior Cats? Are you a little bit concerned, or are you both? I'll be honest, I'm kind of both, because it's Warrior Cats. But, thank you all for watching, and have a pleasant rest of your day. See you guys all next time.